You've heard the rumors, you've read the articles, maybe you've even started prepping. But do you know what you don't know? No, I'm not talking about the end of the world. I'm talking about the beginning of a new one. Making the change from R-134A and R-1234yf to R-456A and R-444A refrigerants. If you're worried about the future, don't be. We're here today to answer your questions. You're watching Shop Owner Solutions. Hi again, everyone. My name is Doug Kaufman. I'm editor of Shop Owner Magazine. Welcome back to Shop Owner Solutions, a podcast series that has been created as a lifeline to shop owners, helping you understand that the struggles you're facing are not unique. If you're feeling like you're just treading water, don't worry, many of your peers have the same questions. Today's episode is sponsored by Orbia Floor and Energy Materials, a business unit of Orbia. Orbia is a global manufacturer of refrigerants, including Clea 134A, that's been in use for more than 30 years, and now they've developed two next-generation composite blends refrigerant, Clea Edge 444A and Clea 456A, available now on the market. I'm joined today by Chuck Abbot, Global Marketing Manager for Orbia. Chuck has 2 decades of experience in developing and marketing refrigerant recovery, recycling, service tools, and service chemicals in the automotive aftermarket. Chuck, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And Adam Kimmel, Orbia's R&D and business development, with many years of experience in product marketing, business development, research, and new product development in chemical and mechanical engineering. Science guys, both of them. Gentlemen, welcome for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Doug.
Thank you.
You know, shop owners, service advisors, and counter personnel, they feel right now they're drowning in technology. ADAS, EV, digital infotainment systems, all of these things that they have to learn. And now AC. Rather than letting them just continue to tread water, let's talk about what can help them gain some new perspective. So we're all on the same page. Let's talk about why AC refrigerants have changed and why they continue to change. You know, the key differences between refrigerants we're familiar with and those newer alternatives, particularly R-444A and R-456A.
Well, I think to your point, this overwhelm of technology change and transition is really starting to overwhelm people. And AC adding to that, something that's been so stable for so long, now changing is just one degree too much. The way to think about this is that regulations are behind all of this. So there are global regulations, and here in the U.S., regulations that are forcing a change from the status quo. Mm-hmm. Just sticking with 134A is no longer an option. So there are 2 kind of ways to think about this. There's sort of the 134A type of refrigerants, and then there's the 1234yf systems. Each of them has an issue as to why that may need to change. 134A availability is becoming really constrained due to some of these global regulations. And in Europe, there are regulations that are putting a lot of strain on 1234yf. So the alternatives that we've developed, 456A and 444A, are specifically designed to mitigate those, the risks of those regulations, the impacts, and alleviate this pressure on the market.
Yeah. So, and everyone needs, obviously, to comply with the regulations that are out there when recovering their existing refrigerants and converting them to direct replacements. What is needed from the perspective of the shops for being in compliance?
Yeah, the good news is that we've done the work of making sure that the formulations are going to be regulatory forward. So from the shop owner perspective, every refrigerant requires a unique fitting, and every refrigerant requires a label on the vehicle. So as long as there's a label and a fitting, the compliance will be there.
So
Pretty simple.
Yeah. So they really don't have to worry about it like they may think they have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
Yeah. So there is a lot of information out there, for everything, but particularly for this. How can shops make sense of that information? Training for technicians and to service the systems using the latest refrigerants. How can shop owners and managers ensure that their team is up to date?
Yeah, I think it's important to keep it simple. R-134A is an A1 refrigerant, which means it's non-flammable. Its replacement, what we're talking about today, is R-456A. It works exactly like R-134A. It requires no difference in oils or system changes, so it is R-134A. It's just called R-456A, so they don't really need to be concerned. They do need to follow the regulations. They need, as Adam mentioned, they do need to use the separate fittings. They do need to label. And then as far as 444A, it is a replacement for 1234yf. Again, just following the regulations. YF and 444 are both A2Ls, so A2Ls can be used in systems designed for A2Ls, which is why we designed 444 to replace YF.
So I'm sure everyone was taking notes on all of those numbers and all those terminologies.
Yeah, hard to say, isn't it? Yeah.
But as Adam pointed out, you don't really need to know that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's already been handled on your end.
Right.
Just do what.
Keep it simple.
Keep what the vehicle needs. What's right for the application. So, are there safety considerations that techs need to be aware of when handling different refrigerants?
Well, certainly as part of, if you are certified under Section 609, you have received all the information you need to deal with 456 and 444A. If you haven't, then please go seek a certifying body, take the class, and learn what you need. There are no new safety considerations in dealing with our two new refrigerants.
Okay. So one of the probably biggest areas of confusion is on the other side of the counter with the customer. For service advisors, how do they effectively communicate the benefits and differences rather than, I've been using air conditioning in my car for a million years. Why do I need to spend all this money? That's kind of maybe the biggest thing, how do they address customer satisfaction when addressing those concerns about the changes and associated costs?
The most clear way to say it is that there are two distinct kind of architectures. There's the A1 non-flammable 134A cars, and then there's the A2L mild flammable 1234yf cars. The refrigerants that are replacing both of those that Chuck mentioned, 456A, is a direct system replacement. It uses the same oil and the same charge size as 134A. So it's extremely easy to switch to that refrigerant. You're becoming regulatory forward by reducing that global warming impact and all the carbon credits that come along with that. And then for A2L-YF vehicles, the 444A uses the same oil, same charge size, same system components. When you start trying to go over that line, that's where the system changes really come into play. It's more than just use the new refrigerant. You have to change the oil or put an additive in there or things. So the clearest way to do it for the service advisors is to keep things, here's the 134A solution, 456, here's the 1234YF solution, 444.
And simply just say to your customer, this is a choice we made in order to improve performance of your vehicle and to save you money.
Okay.
So are you okay for us to move forward with using this new refrigerant?
Don't give them the option about which one to use?
I think it's just best to share that you've made a technical and a economic decision for your shop, and you think it's the right decision, and just share that with them.
Right. Are there applications of the refrigerants that vary between brands? Is it a year-to-year kind of thing where certain refrigerants were only used in a certain period of time with the aging vehicle population? Is it a brand-specific thing? How does the application of these refrigerants vary between different vehicle makes and models?
Well, from an application standpoint, it's the vehicle, has the refrigerant on there. So typically, the 134A vehicles were, most of the marketplace until about 2015 or so when the YF vehicles started to become more prevalent. Those were for new vehicles. So just because a YF vehicle comes, into the market, there's still a period of time before it'll need service. So we just started seeing YF vehicles need AC service about 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
So it really has just become recently when it's mattered, okay, well, what refrigerant is in there? Because historically it was always 134A. So The applications aren't different. It's just a matter of there are now 2 out there, and YF is becoming more prevalent in the service marketplace.
So make and model really aren't determining factors in the refrigerant.
Okay.
It's what the manufacturer designed that system for, and that is clearly labeled on the what's called an SAJ 639 label inside the compartment, the engine compartment.
Got it.
So if you know that it says R-134A on that label, 456 is the replacement. If it said YF, then 444 is the replacement. It's
Perfect.
that clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great for the shop. How about for parts store customers, parts store counter personnel, especially helping those DIY customers who are coming in? We want to help them make the right choice. And let's be honest, there may be a lot of choices on the shelves of their parts store or their local convenience stores. How can we help the DIYers make the right choice?
So the DIYer is looking at price. I mean, they're going to go to the shelf where the refrigerants are, and they're going to go, okay, well, this is the lowest price. If I'm a counter person and the guy brings 3 cans of R-134A because that's going to be the lowest price right now, they're going to bring them to my shelf. I'm going to say, first question, do you know what type of refrigerant your vehicle uses? I don't know. This is the cheapest, so this is what I want. Well, let me check for you. What's the year, make, and model of your vehicle? Oh, 2018, da-da-da-da. So I type it in. Sir, your car takes 1234yf. This is not the proper choice. The proper choice would be the R-444A or the YF. And then they're really helping the customer make the right choice.
Some of that is it comes to training for the personnel to be able to have that conversation with the customers. They may not even be, they may not think about that. Are there resources that you recommend for training with the customer or for those situations?
Yeah, certainly. Our partners who bring the refrigerants to market have that training capability, and they'll bring that information to the counter. We also have a website that is useful for anyone that's doing counter work to consult, and then there's open training. There's training organizations that do training. We're part of that curriculum.
Great.
Yeah, the interest in training is just really high, and so we're trying to partner with everybody really to get this, get the word out and really demystify this topic, because it doesn't need to be as complicated as it may seem on the surface. So there's kind of the 134A track and the YF track, and then let's understand for both what it's going to take.
One of the things that some of our professional audience may be thinking about now is system flushing and oil compatibility. Where does that fall these days?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that comes, I think, from the days of the R12 to R134A conversion, where it was recommended that when you switch from R12 to R134A, you flush out the mineral oil from the R12 system, and then you put in new PAG oil for the R134A. That does not exist here today. This R-456 uses the exact same PAG oil as R-134A. R-444A uses the exact same PAG oil as R-444A. So even thinking about flushing, it's just not necessary. Now, if you are making a repair to the vehicle because the compressor exploded, okay, there's a different reason for you to be flushing the vehicle, but not to get rid of the oil, not because of oil cross-contamination.
Okay, so that's one thing that they don't necessarily have to worry about unless there's a reason to worry about it.
Right. That's right.
Exactly.
Interesting. Exactly. Okay. All right. So for more information on any of the topics we talked today, or other things, even getting down into how this stuff is made, where can they go?
Well, the website's probably the best place to start. So we just recently launched refreshed our website, orbia-fem.com. So Floor and Energy Materials, abbreviated. Then, of course, you can find Chuck and me on social media for questions or other resources that we have in some of our industry partners.
That's it.
Guys, thanks for joining us and helping to clarify some of these questions that our listeners and readers are really kind of concerned about.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you having us, Doug. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
great.
you.
Been great.
Once again, today's episode has been sponsored by Orbia Floor and Energy Materials, a business unit of Orbia. Orbia is a global manufacturer of refrigerants, including CLIA 134A, that's been in use for more than 30 years, as well as CLIA Edge 444A and CLIA 456A, both new composite blends that are direct replacements for R-1234yf and R-134A, respectively. They're available now on the market. Again, I'd like to thank my guests, Chuck Abbot and Adam Kimmel, for joining us today, sharing their expertise with us. And I'd like to thank you, the listener, for tuning in. You can check out other episodes of Shop Owner Solutions at Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Facebook, wherever all those fine podcasts are distributed. On behalf of all of us at Shop Owner, as well as our sponsor, Orbia, thanks for listening. Have a great day.